Hi, my name's Firefighter Burns. Been with the city of Houston almost 10 years. Started as a volunteer until I got on with Houston.
Good morning, Gabe Dominguez. I'm a captain with the Houston Fire Department. Been on the job here for 24 years. I also sit on the E board for Local 341, the Houston Professional Firefighters Association, and as well as the Texas Firefighter Home that provides short-term housing for firefighters when they come into Houston for any illness or injury.
Great. Glad you guys are here for the um, Unanswered Maydays podcast. And of course, having a child is not an unanswered Mayday, but and hopefully your family's doing well, Burns. Now that it's a few weeks, a couple weeks that you've been back. Congratulations on yet another
Thank you.
child,
Yes.
and
No
all the
more.
and all the stresses that come with that. So that's great. Um, so what we want to talk about is how was it for you to be gone for your paternity leave and then to come back to Station 50 to go on shift?
Well, it was quite interesting. I've never missed work that long in a stretch of time since I started the job, and it was a little interesting to come back after 3 months. It, I found myself a little lost inside and felt back underneath me. I definitely felt kind of ran through some of the protocols in my head and grab live stuff that we did at the academy that they're just ingrained in you, and I hadn't thought about them in 3 months with having my daughter. So I was running through that stuff, and I looked up a few things in my phone that I hadn't looked at in a long time, and when I got back to the station, I found myself trying to get back in my routine of day-to-day checkoffs and how I like the apparatus to be set up. And the first few runs came in, they felt weird to me. I felt like I was relearning how to talk to a patient again, even though I've done it thousands of times before. Just hadn't touched any of that stuff in 3 months. Was quite a little bit of a learning curve for a few hours.
How are you feeling now?
I think better. This is my second shift back, and I definitely feel like my routine's getting back to where it was. It's just ingrained in me to show up at 5:45, and been been my time ever since I started with Houston. So I don't like to change that. I don't want to change that. And uh, as far as just morning routines and activities and checkoffs, it seemed to go a little smoother today than it did for me first day. I felt like.
And Mike, it looks like he developed muscle memory because it looked like he never missed a step. Like
All right.
05:45, he was already there, emptying
Yeah.
out trash bags, and making sure his equipment's ready to go.
Yeah.
The ship before us had a fire, so Burns goes right into it, pulling the air packs off, making sure they're clean. Taking apart the regulators. Like he's developed the muscle memory for being on the job already for like 10 years, even though he was gone for 2 months. Burns,
I
we
think
would say.
it was the end of April into the middle of July, so almost three.
3 months, yeah, approaching 3 months. So, I mean, as firefighters, I think we do it so much, always coming in first thing in the morning, we establish that muscle memory, and which can help you on an incident driven Mayday, right? You develop, you get so familiar with your pack, where your regulator's at, you get comfortable by checking it every morning, and then every day here in Houston, depending what day of the week it is, we have different duties, that being Mondays our apparatus day, Tuesdays are station day, Wednesdays like community interaction day, and Thursdays like a catch up day, and Fridays are yard day, and Saturdays another day they use either for training or to catch up on some things, some duties that we weren't able to do those days, either to weather or just having a busy day at the firehouse. So, but as firefighters, the thing about coming on the job is you develop muscle memory. and we're talking about being gone for so long period of time. That's when I believe it starts getting critical, right? When that muscle memory is not there, right? And here in Houston, we have a protocol for that. So if you're gone more than 6 months,
Yeah.
you have to go through a rope course, right? So you have to go to the academy for about a week, and they put you through different training, get you comfortable, acclimated to your gear, and even some live fire training. So they do that once you're gone for more than 180 days. So because I think that's what they're able to judge where that how does it feel when you come back? They believe that you still have that muscle memory in 2 to 3 months, but if it's gone past 180 days, you're here in Houston fire, you're going to have to go through rope training, which consists of every aspect of a firefighter from live fire training to the confidence course that I remember when I took you down there and one of the firefighters was going through it, and you were surprised how the instructor was getting onto that firefighter for removing his mask.
Yeah.
So even ladders, putting their gear on, some pump up training, and also some hose line training. So Houston does that after 180 days.
Yeah. So Burns, you feel comfortable coming back in? Sounds like you're already right back into the routine. You found the station 2 weeks in a row, so that's
Yeah, I found the station, arrived at my normal time, but yeah, that first day back was a little, I guess, quirky would be an interesting word to use for me, because it felt weird. I hadn't talked to most of the guys. I see the group text, but you get so focused on feedings with the baby and keeping the wife happy, and a happy wife, happy life, and it was a great time. But we were, I think both my wife and me were ready for us to go, both of us to go back to work.
yeah. So she packed
I missed the routine of.
she packed your gear the night before to make sure that you'd be out the door.
No, she doesn't pack. She doesn't.
Burns, how's your work-life balance and being back a couple weeks? Are you feeling comfortable with? Are you missing being at home, missing being with the newborn?
I enjoy the fire station. I enjoy my crew. I enjoy the time away, being able to further my career of within the city. But I definitely recognize that I've seen many families, in my 10 years, of guys that focus too much on the firefighting aspect and forget about their home lives, or they tend to ignore their families. And I try to make it an effort to not ignore my wife and help her if she does need help, or making simple phone calls to whoever to help set up doctor's appointments. I definitely don't use the station as a way to hide from my family. I don't think that's the
Sure.
appropriate. It's because I've seen it all the time. It's easy to say, "Well, I'm on a call," so whenever my wife does take the time to FaceTime me or visit the station, I always make sure to spend the time with her and the kid, and now kids. And
Yeah.
I've definitely seen other stations where guys will kind of be dismissive of their family, and it's truly an honor. My wife and me now brought two lives in this world together, and uh, I'm happier to be at home. I like home, but I have a career, and then I have my family, but my family will always be first.
Yeah, that's great. And the changes in the not only in staffing, because there's been some staffing changes at 50 during the time that you were gone, and um, and the food, and um, and I'm sure some updates on policies and protocols. And so, how have you been able to kind of navigate that part of the change?
So I never disconnected my city email from the phone. I do like to at least see updates. But I did notice, a few change in 3 months, a lot of things changes. We got, so I guess we started at the policies, I
Right,
believe.
right.
Yeah, I never took the city email off my phone, so I was able to keep track of certain policies and changes that the city's done in the 3 months. But I did notice that a lot did change in 3 months. as far as certain procedures that we do, and we also have continuing education hours that have to be maintained. And I was very on top of that pre-baby, and being 3 months off up on me, and it was easy to get back under control because it was too many, but it took me a little bit of time, to longer than I'm used to get those education hours knocked out and be compliant within my certification.
Great. And then Gabe, as the kind of the captain at the station, what did you find that you needed to do to help Burns kind of acclimate back onto the shift?
Not might be honest, not much. Like I said, Burns didn't lose any of that muscle memory. He's a self initiator. Like, I mean, he beat me to work. I'll be honest. I got here, I had 600. Burns already had trash bags on the pavement. I mean, he was going through the steps. I mean, I'm very fortunate to have people like Burns. Where he like you said, he doesn't even disconnect from the city email. He's still on top of his C's. And he still has the engagement. But you do nail it. And I mean, I'm very fortunate to have a firefighter like Burns, where I don't have to tell him what needs to be done. He's a self initiator. If I would see him struggle in one thing or another throughout the day, I would let him know. But, he's usually pretty good about it. But something that he said earlier, the work life balance. That's a big struggle, because firefighters have two different lives. They have a home life and then they have their fire life. And then sometimes they take on the third one, which could be a side job. What like Burns, two kids bring up another life, right? So to juggle all that, you're juggling three things, right? Work life balance is very important, I think, as for firefighters, especially for all three of those things to stay balanced. You know, I always give Burns a hard time, and I said, "Hey, how's Daddy daycare going for you?" Because most firefighters, that's what we do because we're very fortunate with our shift work. We're able to have time off to actually, be able to spend time with our kids for a good amount of time, and I tell Burns, and my wife gets after me because I would always call it that when I was raising my son, daddy daycare. And she goes, "Well, it's not called daycare, Gabe, when you're raising your own son."
That's good.
And I said, Mike, I'm married to an educator. They always got
That's right.
this.
That's right.
I live life by like a kindergartner, and she goes, "You're not running a daycare here when it's your own kid." I just got to let you know. And I said, "No, you're right." But I thought it was cool just to say daddy daycare. But it is. That's a very important topic that leads to a lot of different things in the fire service, right? Stress, like if you're not balancing stuff, you can be stressed out, which can hurt you on performance on the job, right?
Sure.
Which could be another trigger for even behavioral health, right? If you're not able to balance it out, it's going to cause stressors that can trigger the behavioral mayday that we're going to get into later on in the future podcasts.
Yep.
And I know we kind of scratched the surface on that first podcast about when we made the introduction on some of the topics we'll be discussing on the podcast. But that's you nailed it. That's one of the important aspects of it is work life balance,
And
and you nailed it.
and Burns, so as you've kind of come back in, you've been around Houston Fire for 10 years, so you know that there's resources out there besides Gabe, to be able to help you kind of navigate any of the, kind of the fire issues, kind of the job issues, as well as kind of resources that are in place to help you, and your family with any kind of transitions, right? I'm sure that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think the city and the union's done a great job with uh, all the resources that are available to us with just a few phone calls. I think as type A and men personalities and firefighters, we feel like we shouldn't have to call, but I've seen it too much already in just 10 years that that simple phone call is the game changer. And the person may not feel like they need it, but when they're at that point and they're so dark in it, you got to get the help. And, I'm proud. I don't think I'll ever get there, but I could see just from certain stressors of work-life balance and workload and pay and any other stressors in life, it can be quite difficult if you don't have a good balance of everything.
Right. And I think for us in the fire service, all those that our lives are focused about around other people and helping other people, the hardest thing is to ask for help, and it's sometimes easier within the station, within the friends there, but there are those times, and I mean, in this case, this is kind of a joyous opportunity for you and your family as you kind of grow your family, and I'm sure that your colleagues. Anything else, Burns, you want to share?
No, it was a pleasure to be on the podcast and to kind of share my own personal experience. I definitely try to credit myself these days that 10 years in the city of Houston is some time in, and I pride myself on my work ethic and my uh, ability to separate work and my home life. And I definitely realize as now that I have a second kid, it's even more important now that I continue to reinforce my habits at the house and being helpful and loving to my family and providing.
And so Burns, if it's okay with you and Gabe, then we'll check back with you maybe in 6 months when that newborn is now a toddler, and kind of see your.
Which you can talk a little bit more.
That's right. That's right. When she can tell you no.
Right. Oh, my
Give
son's
those
great at
lung
that one,
scream.
right? My son's real good at that one
Yeah,
already.
yeah. But yeah, we'll check back with you. But
Absolutely, that'd be great.
yeah. So again, congratulations. Thanks for being part of this, and I think this is another one of those, often not generally discussed topics of, kind of the fire service of balancing, newborns being gone and then coming back right into the job. And, knowing the folks at 50, I know you're in good hands, and know that you're capable, but it's good to hear even the initial concerns, of coming back in, and kind of those butterflies in the stomach of coming back.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
thanks. So thanks.
Well, thank you for having me.
Gabe, anything else?
Mike, I appreciate your dedication and passion, what you do for all firefighters across the country.
Well, my
You know,
pleasure.
like, it's very, there's a lot of things you can be doing, especially on a Saturday morning, you know? And the first thing you get out of bed, you're like, hey, we're doing a podcast and we're going to spread this education around for everybody else in the country to realize, you know, that, they're running daddy daycare in Houston, Texas, and you're probably running it up in Michigan. But, the education and bringing discussion about work-life balance, family life, fire life, it's what we need, because some of us don't like to read the book. They just like to hear things, and we learn by hearing, reading, putting our hands on it. So, hey, I love you, brother, for putting this together and being able to send it across the country.
Well,
So,
thanks.
help somebody, awesome. Sign
Yep.
us, we're in for it. We're here to serve, So,
Well, thanks, Gabe. And
but you